This week on Destiny Underground,
Destiny 1.5, my asshole.
we're your hosts, PB and ladies.
And I'm Xaque.
Start this off by just taking a really big breath. Destiny 2 is finally here, so just exhale.
Finally, officially 100% on the PlayStation, installed and launchable.
Quote unquote.
Spoilers.
Yeah, so everything after this we're going to go and there's going to be some pretty spoiler heavy talk. So you've been warned.
If you're not playing the game already and you're interested in it, we're spoiling things. If you don't care about spoilers, feel free to listen. If you're already playing the game, we are up to...
We're back at
We've
the
been to
farm.
all 4 planets.
Yeah.
And we've gone back to the farm. That's about the least spoiler way to tell you where we're at.
Yeah.
So if you're around there, you can go ahead and keep listening. Or if you don't care about spoilers, go ahead and keep listening.
All right, so if you go and launch the game, one of the first things that I actually saw when I launched the game, and this was completely surprising to me, was the memories. That's something that completely took me off guard.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it was the first thing. I thought.
Well, you hit X, you launch the game,
Yeah.
it kind of does the whole Destiny thing, and then like once you go through, it does the cutscene where Ghost is talking, and then it switches over to like his modulated robot
Right.
Ghost voice. Then it shows you your memories, which is by far the best thing that I think Destiny had ever done up until that point for me. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. It's not like they're like congratulating me for playing the game, but you got to like relive Destiny 1 right before Destiny 2, and it was just
The best part,
it was just great.
they easily could have just had the memories with the dates on them, but the fact that they somehow had the data of the fire team that you completed everything with set it above, like it knocked it out of the park. That's what made it so special for me.
Yeah, because you could just look and you're like, oh yeah, I did that with this person, and then this is the date that I did this, and you know, like this is the people that we played with, and you can see kind of my memories had Xaque was in each and every one of the end game ones, and then we had a friend who played with us. He was in a couple, and then we had a couple other friends who played with us. So it was really cool to see them all just kind of like I got to relive those memories with them that one last time right before launching and starting Destiny 2. So that was
It's bittersweet.
It almost brought me to
'cause
tears.
There were a couple of players on there that don't play anymore. That
Yeah, that's
I
kinda
had
sad.
a lot of fun playing with.
But yeah, I mean up until that point, that was great.
Let's talk more about your first experience with Destiny 2 after the memories. Because it wasn't like mine.
Oh yeah, I mean it took me. Granted, I mean my internet's pretty terrible, so I had to download the update. That's my own fault. The moment I tried to log in, I got this big error screen that kept popping up, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And then everybody's like blaming Bungie, and we're like Googling it, trying to figure out, and it was just like PlayStation Network is just basically giving me the middle finger. That's what we figured out.
Yeah.
Is that PlayStation Network was just not going to let me log in, despite Xaque logging in and out and in and out and in and out while I'm doing this. And it just basically got down to the point 2 hours in where we just decided that I was just going to continue to hit X to try and log in until it would let me.
The
And
worst
eventually-
part is I logged into Rob's PlayStation account from my PlayStation because I could log in no problem. And after I did that, it still didn't work for his account. And then it also didn't work for my account. So he infected me with his bug. So we're
Yeah, I
both
gotta-
sitting there tapping X over and over and over again for like 30 minutes, hoping that we can just get in and play.
I mean, but yeah, that was utterly frustrating. I had to actually log into my Hunter, log out, log back in on my Titan to play, and that was over the course of like 2.5 hours on what was Thursday. Yeah, would have been late in the day on Thursday. But I mean, apart from that, and granted, that was only a PlayStation Network thing, and that was only affected like a small minority of the players. But I mean, that was frustrating. But apart from that, I actually haven't had any server problems, any connectivity problems. any sort of error codes or anything like that
No
come
frame
up.
rate problems, nothing.
No, I mean, the game, after I was able to get in, the game launched and played beautifully. And I mean, beautifully. Like, there, I'm going to try and find some words to describe this game, but I don't think I have them right now. It is,
All I can say is, like our beginning clip, the people that said, this is just Destiny 1.5, this is just an expansion. No, this game absolutely justifies its 2 at the end of the title. It goes out of its way to show you that this is not Destiny 1 anymore, this is Destiny 2.
yeah, I mean, there's so many big things, and we're gonna try and touch on a lot of them. But one thing we wanted to do before we start really getting into the meat of this was give you a Guardian update.
Yeah. We're going to try and do this every week.
Yeah, just to kind of show where we are, talk about our gear, what we like, what we don't like. Currently, I've only really played with the Sentinel subclass on the Titan. The Striker subclass I feel really isn't like PvE put, so I've played really with the Sentinel subclass. I've got that all upgraded. It's pretty fun. I'm at power level 209. I've got a couple legendaries and a couple blues, and I think I just hit level 20 like last night, so that's really good. I didn't think I was going to hit 20 before we were able to actually record this.
Yeah. I don't remember my power level. It's probably right around yours, not much higher, because I didn't get much more after I hit level 20, but I have all 3 subclasses on my Titan, and I use Sentinel the most, but the second that I got the Titan hammers, I immediately switched back over because they just feel fantastic. Their splash damage isn't as big as it used to be, but you get about 5 or 6 hammers per super if you're good with them, so they're super fun. Plus they added the shoulder charge with a flaming hammer, so of course I'm going to be using a shoulder charge with a flaming hammer constantly. As far as my loadout, it's like mostly blues and a few purples, so there's nothing special I want to touch on or talk about. I do want to go ahead and talk about how the weapons feel in general, because they're different. The first thing you'll probably notice in the game is auto rifles are back. It took 3 years, but
Yeah.
the damage that Vex did and Suros did is finally undone, and auto rifles are usable again. I've used an auto rifle probably 30%, 40% of the time I've been doing the campaign. Never would have said that in Destiny year 2, year 3, or even year 1 after the first month or 2.
Yeah, if anything, auto rifles and pulse rifles for me personally seem to be the go-to just for damage. But we have friends who are swearing by like double hand cannon loadouts, swearing by other loadouts. So I mean, what's great about the way the guns feel is, one, the game is so new that nobody really knows what like the actual metadata is and what guns are like quote unquote the best, or what gun archetypes are the best. But the guns feel so good and they feel balanced enough to where we can actually have a debate on which loadout would be the best and what you feel the most comfortable with. And that in and of itself is great, because Destiny 1 just basically boiled down to, if you're not using like these 4 guns for this event,
You
then you're
can't
wrong.
join our raid party
Yeah.
with 5,000 Grimoire score.
But yeah, I mean, I currently have a legendary auto rifle. I've been using a lot of auto rifles. I've been using a lot of pulse rifles. I've tried the hand cannons. The ones that I played with aren't for me, but I might find some more down the road. Pulse rifles are really nice. I like the energy weapons. They're fantastic. And I actually find myself, and I didn't think I was going to say this, I find myself gravitating towards grenade launchers for my power weapon.
They're so
weirdly enough
good. Like, maybe they're not good for DPS because we're not that far yet, but as far as how they feel, you
They're just
chunk this
fun.
grenade, dunk, and then it knocks the captain 5 feet in the air and sends him back, and then you have 4 more rounds to lay into him. It's the funnest weapon I've had since Galahorn.
Yeah, I mean, that's really a good way to explain everything that we've done in this game. Is it's just
It's fun.
Period.
I mean, we were sitting there, and the new... I don't want to call them patrol zones anymore, because that's not all there is to do anymore. I guess exploration zones would be a better term.
Free zones, explore zones, like open world
I mean,
areas.
you don't
I'm
even
not really sure.
hit a patrol until way into the campaign, so I can't call them patrol zones. We'll have to come up with a new term for it. But we were in there, and we're like, okay, let's go do the next story mission, but then we literally got sidetracked just farming, or not farming, that's the wrong word, because we weren't farming. We didn't even realize we were doing it. We were going
Just
into lost
playing the game.
sectors. We were killing strong fallen. We were gravitating to public events, and we're just naturally. And then like 30 minutes later, it was like, weren't we starting this story mission? I mean, what happened to that? So that's different. In Destiny 1, if you went down to Earth's patrol zone, you went there for one reason and one reason only: farming patrols or farming materials. If you're a year one player, anyway. That was it.
Yeah. Speaking on story missions, I don't know if you have a favorite. Like, I have a couple different like favorite moments so far.
Yeah,
and
we'll go into
like
a favorite moment segment.
the. I mean, the beginning like 2 hours of the game is just it's beautiful. That's it. I got that part exceeded my expectations. I got exactly what I wanted from that. As far as exposition, as far as story, we played the homecoming mission, obviously, in the beta. But everything that happened after that...
The homecoming mission is the weakest part of the entire opening of Destiny. So if you liked that, the bar is higher than that. It's so good.
Walking around in third person with your broken armor, like holding your side, you feel powerless. And I was talking to Xaque when I was doing this, because we were like communicating, and I was like, this is the first time that you, as your guardian, like you have ever felt powerless with the light, because you've always been this hulking monster beast who doesn't have to, fear death.
Specifically
And now,
our guardian, because we're like the guardian that's done all this stuff nobody else could ever do.
and now you're weak, and the game really made you feel that. Like, it really made you like scared, and you were looking around the last city, and you're like, holy shit, we lost, and we lost bad.
Especially,
and
they did a great thing. I don't personally like Nolanbot as much as Dinklebot, but his acting in that beginning was spot on. He actually gave Ghost emotion. Ghost sounded scared, weak. It was awesome. It was nice. It almost brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, you're watching the Cabal just go through the city, and you're just like, this is awful. And then it cuts and shows you like these dead guardians on the ground. You're listening to them just like lose their light and get killed, and their transmissions, and you're having to fight things, and you're like legitimately scared, because you're like, oh god, I might die.
Yeah.
So that in of itself was great. And there's a part a little bit after that where you almost like crest over a hill, and you look and you see like the landscape, and that's really where it hit me. And I was like, oh, this is anything like Destiny 1. This isn't anything like I was expecting. And you look over and you see this like mountain area and like this range, and you look to your left and you see the city burning, still
burning 2 weeks
after
later.
2 weeks later, and you're just like, this is real, and like that really stuck with me. And that was something like that Skyrim moment where you crest over that hill in Skyrim, and you see that first real big
and there's
real
like a
big
waterfall
area, and you're like
a river in Skyrim, and then there's a river
like,
down there in Destiny, and it's like a valley, and it definitely showed you that it is still a world. It's Earth. It's not just the tower.
Yeah, it did so much for world building in the matter of 45 minutes and having you walk, and it's awe inspiring, really was. Apart from that, there's a mission on Titan, I want to say, where you're having to deal with some hive stuff, and the atmosphere, and that was fantastic. Personally,
Yes.
it was great. It felt like you were in an alien movie. Like, it felt like you were crawling through the ducts on the Nostromo, and there were these beings that you didn't understand that were like coming after you, and the lighting was fantastic, and it's just like that. As a story mission is probably the highlight, just because of the atmosphere, and they've done so much with atmospheric storytelling on top of the cinematics that I'm blown away.
Yeah.
I really am.
They put a lot more effort into how you're going to experience those story missions, and like leading you down hallways so that when you turn, they know what you're going to see. And I mean, it goes into like a whole other argument where you might disagree with how you get sparrows down, but the fact that you don't have a sparrow, they can sort of craft how you're going to see everything for the first time, because you're going to be walking or sprinting into it, so they can, you're not just going to blow through everything, like hop on the sparrow and then the story mission is over in 5 minutes. So they really use that to their advantage, I think, to build these great, memorable... I mean, like I've told a couple people now, it feels like the Halo 4 campaign that Bungie might have made if they made a Halo 4, because you're on a mission, but you're going to different locales and things are happening. You're meeting different people along the way that help you out, and it's not just. I mean, can you tell me what you did in Destiny 1's campaign?
Not personally, no. I mean, we did a fighting the darkness, I think.
Yeah.
Like we fought a dark thingy and killed it.
The most I remember from that campaign is this queen looks really cool. Oh, I guess we'll never see her again. Okay.
And the wizard, it came from the moon.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Oh, yeah, that wizard just comes out. And let's compare wizards. Let's compare initial wizard encounters from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. Because in Destiny 1, you come up there, those steps, and it's like, that wizard came from the moon, and then the wizard is just there. That's it. And Destiny 2, the first time you see a wizard, you're walking across a bridge after fighting some hive, and then you hear this ear-piercing scream, and the ghost's like, did you hear that? And you're like, yeah, I fucking heard it. And you just keep going through the story mission, and you hear that over and over again. To us, as veteran players, it sounded like somebody else, specifically Omnigul, and we were like, I swear to God, if Omnigul is back from the dead for the 5 billionth time, I don't know what I'm going to do. But, it was a wizard, but it just builds it up throughout the entire mission, and then you get on the roof, and there's like 3 wizards, imposing wizards, just sitting there ready to murder you. That's the difference right there. That's how you compare Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 with how much effort they put into the story missions.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that they're introducing everything, like the way they introduced Zavala, the way they introduced Cade, the way they introduced Ikora, the way they introduced all these other secondary and tertiary characters, the way they introduce enemies. Like, it's all built specifically, and it's all built up, and it's all this grand adventure, and the characters are fantastic. I mean, we were playing on IO, and we were running around, and we're like, oh God. We're like looking and seeing, and like we were seeing these little like Taken orbs, and we're like, are they Taken here? This is not good. And like, they really gives you that feeling when you're playing before you actually ever see any Taken. You see a bunch of stuff, and it's meant to make you feel uncomfortable and really anticipate something. They do a really good job of like making you feel things.
Yes, exactly.
Just making you feel anything, and like you feel a lot of things. Like I was awestruck by the sight. I was hurt by the dead Guardians. I was, kind of scared for my life in the beginning, and then I was, determined to like get back the Vanguard. Like I'm being inspired by this game to feel things, and that's something that never felt in the other games. Never.
Even beginning, it was so effective because I didn't want to die. Like, I knew I'd probably just respawn or whatever, but I didn't want to die. I didn't want it. For one, I didn't want to die and respawn and have it break it for me. And for two, it didn't feel like I should die right now. It didn't, I could die for good. So when the war beasts are coming after you and they get close to you, and you're like, you panic and you punch them because like, no, I can't die, get away from me, go, 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 go. And then there's a part where you have to jump over a cliff, and it purposefully is too big for you to make, but you have no other choice but to make that jump, and that's how they trigger the next cutscene. But when I fell, I didn't know I couldn't make the jump, and I thought I fucked up and killed my guardian, and I was like, oh, no, I'm dead.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing. I actually didn't realize that. I thought I just like missed the jump up and like triggered the cutscene on accident. And I was like, well, I'll take it.
At first, I thought I
Whatever.
triggered the death cutscene when it like went into a cutscene. I thought I like triggered like you lost and the whole world was over. Luckily, that wasn't the case because I would have felt even worse.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing that they do to really like make you feel something is the main villain, the antagonist, the primary antagonist, Gaul, is actually like a person. He's a villain. He has his own like drives, he has his own motivations, he has his own morals as to why he's doing everything. Like, in his opinion, he's the good guy.
Yeah,
like he's doing what he needs to do to.
He's just Gary. He's not here to be evil. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Gary's story time because he's in the story more than you think compared to what you've played of other Destiny. Like, if obviously you could compare Destiny to other games and its story isn't gonna hold up. But we're comparing it specifically to Bungie's previous game because we know Bungie can do Halo and do good stories, and then Destiny comes out and they don't. So we're specifically comparing Destiny 2 to Destiny because that's what you should do if you liked or didn't like Destiny and you want to know if you buy Destiny 2. compare it to Destiny. Don't compare it to Call of Duty or Dragon Age or whatever, because it's not a fair comparison.
I mean, even then, I think the story, and we don't know, we haven't finished it yet,
not to
but I think the
downplay it,
story
for sure.
is,
It's definitely
the
good.
story is holding up, and I think it holds up with any other first-person shooters campaigns that I've played, and any other campaigns that I've played that aren't first-person shooters that are, out nowadays. But yeah, I mean, Gary as an antagonist, Gaul as an antagonist he's something, really. Like, he's one of the first antagonists that I've met in a video game that actually intrigues me in a very long time, because I can't think of many other things specifically that really intrigue me from an antagonist standpoint, because you've mentioned Halo 4, like the architect, or the I can't even remember him, his name specifically, and that's how that illustrates my point right there.
Yeah.
Just I'm evil, rah, kind of a thing. Whereas Gaul is doing this for the Empire. You get a whole backstory on him. He has his confidant, his second in command that talks to him. He has a whole backstory, and he kind of alludes to it when he's talking to the speaker onto why he has this mask, and talks about how somebody took him in. Yeah, he does this. He does this whole Bane thing, and it's
effective, though. I mean, it works. It worked for Bane, and it works here too.
Yeah, and you really do get that you get an almost Bane feel from him, because he comes in, completely unannounced, by surprise, and just wipes it all out. Wipes it all out.
The playing field is just, it's not what we thought it was anymore. He plays by his own rules. He comes in, he's like, your light is mine, and immediately your light leaves. You're like, okay, this guy's not fucking around. This isn't Oryx who says he'll take your light. No, he took your light. You've lost. You have to come to him now.
Yeah, and I guess to compare him to Oryx, there's really no, Oryx was a force. That's the best thing I can use for Oryx, is that Oryx was a force, but he wasn't a character. He was an obstacle to get around. Whereas Gary Gaul is somebody that we have to beat. We have to defeat, because he's presenting presenting something that we need to actually do. He's taking something away from us. Where Oryx was just this thing that we needed to fight, and it's obvious by how much they've had Oryx versus Gaul speak. He's a character.
Yeah, he's had 3 or 4 lengthy cutscenes now so far, explaining his motives. I mean, the moment he becomes a true character is when his confidant comes up and says, we have everything we need to begin stealing the light from the Traveler. Just give your word. And he's like, no, that's not how it works for me, because he wants to be chosen. He wants to be proven that when they threw him out, they were wrong.
Yeah, he wants to be personally vindicated.
Yes.
And I mean, I think that's probably his going to be his downfall. Truthfully, his pride or his avarice, is gonna really come down, and it might be his downfall, or he might do that thing where he just goes off the deep end, and if the Traveler doesn't pick him, he's just gonna take it by force.
Yeah, so we can get more into that for sure. But I mean, you compare that to Oryx. Oryx had some memorable lines, and he had a great theme song. The villain before that, Skolas, he just had a really frustrating boss fight. That's the only reason anybody remembers Skolas, I guarantee it. Before that, Crota, he seemed to be built up a lot, but we never interacted with Crota at all. We killed a crystal that had his soul in it, and then you go in the raid and fight a silent boss like every other raid in Destiny. And then the boss in the first campaign was the Vex, a big black gooey heart thing. Literally not even a character, just a concept. So it's leagues better than anything that we've had before in Destiny, and anything better than I've played in an FPS shooter. I've played a couple, and I've never finished a campaign in an FPS shooter before.
Except in Destiny 1.
Yeah, if that counts. I wouldn't put it on the list.
So I mean, we kind of touched on open world content there for a bit before we jumped into like story and talking specifically about Gaul. But is there anything you wanted to touch on? Touch on there?
My favorite moment of the week actually comes from one of the new adventures, because it's when you have to go back into the salt mine on EDZ and you steal all of the fallen traps and explosions by transmatting them.
Oh yeah.
And then you go to the top and you lay an ambush for the Cabal by pretending to talk as a Fallen and call some bad names to Gaul or about Gaul, and the Cabal land. And your first instinct is to just shoot them like you do everything else, SD, but if you don't, you're rewarded for it so perfectly, because they walk and they jump right into your ambush and they just get blown the fuck up by tons of explosions, and it just shows how much better graphically Destiny 2's engine is, because it doesn't skip a beat with these huge explosions and particle effects, and the Cabal just light up in flames and they're all dead, and then they come from the other side and they do it again, and then Ghost's like, I have more traps, and he lays more traps, and they come again, and it's beautiful. They just keep walking into it, and it's glorious.
I mean, the one thing that I almost want to say more or stress more than anything else is at the moment that we first touched down in the EDZ and I saw how big it is and I saw what there was to do, I was like, I'm overwhelmed.
I don't know what to do. Please tell me what to do. Give me a linear thing. I take it back. I don't want
too much content. It's crazy. Like I never thought I'd say that, but there may be too much content to like look at. And I'm just like, I kind of like had to like focus in and be like, I guess we're just gonna like try and do the story and then like do a couple adventures and like do the public events. But the open worlds flow so well because like you can initiate everything from there. Like
yes.
There was a moment where I think we finished. I did. And the person we were playing with actually had to remind me that we were not in a story mission anymore. I was just waiting. Like I was waiting like,
for the 30-second
mission
timer to go down.
And I was waiting for us to go back to orbit after the mission. I was like sitting there and I was like, I guess we're gonna go do other things. And I just like opened the director and looked at the map and was like, I guess we're gonna go here. And then we just went there and we did that thing, and then we continued to do that. And that's something that should have been there from the beginning. I'm glad. I'm really happy, and I'm really excited about how well it works, because I was sort of like on the fence about it when they showed it, and I was like, this isn't going to work that well. And it does. They pulled it off. Like the open world things are, and granted, that's where you're going to spend a lot of time. It's one of the best parts of the game. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we haven't even finished the game. Really, we don't even know what the end game is like. We haven't
even touched. We touched a bit on. We did a couple strikes. We did one strike where we fought some Taken. We did another strike on Venus, where we ended up fighting like a big fallen guy, big Vandal. Oh, God dang it. I call it Venus. Nessus. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we ended up fighting a big guy on Nessus, and I mean, you necessarily didn't like the Nessus strike, but I mean, just looking at it compared to the strikes before. Like, these are kind of like miniature raids. There's mechanics that we need to do. There's some platforming. The bosses are multi-layered and multi-leveled.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like the follow-on that much, because it was the first one that didn't have that with the boss. He just kind of ran around and you killed him. But every other strike I played has been good.
I can't stress this enough, but we were going and doing the strike, and we're playing with this other third fire team member that reminded me that I had to go pick things to do, and we were running through this strike, and their public event just like pops as we're doing it, and I'm just like, I guess we're gonna go do this, and then we just continued on with the strike. What? So I mean, I think
I tested it. I was like, is this open world really? And I noticed we were by Failsafe, easily one of the best new characters in the game. We were by her ship, and I just like, okay, it's probably walled off. You know, they probably put fake rocks there or something like they did in Destiny 1. But no, I walked into her ship and I approached her and I redeemed some tokens for reputation and bought a new gun. Then I walked out and continued my strike. That was never even thought of in Destiny 1.
Yeah, and we can just go back and forth, and it's breathtaking. It really is. Looking at this, we're going to do this every week, but we're actually going to go over the weekly updates that they've put out. A couple dates I wanted to touch on real quick, just for you guys. If you guys don't know, Leviathan raid is going to launch on the 13th.
Which, when this comes out, that should be tomorrow.
Yeah. And then Xur also is going to come on the 15th. And with him, he's bringing the Trials of the Nine, which is
I'm
what
assuming
I
Trials of
assume.
Osiris.
Yeah, it's going to be the new Trials of Osiris, since they're doing something else with like the Osiris DLC, which is I think going to be the first expansion.
Yeah, in
So
December,
we're
I
going to
think.
see some stuff about that. So there's a couple of cool days to keep in mind. Week 2 will be the Nessus Flashpoint. They also kind of went into shaders a little bit. Like they have some Luke Smith clips here, and then talking about some investigations as far as like networking and stuff like that for the most part. But and then one thing we wanted to talk about that they touched on in the weekly update were the shaders, because
Yeah.
that's really the only thing that I think everybody unanimously agrees on, and just kind of like points at the game and goes,
No.
"What?" Yeah.
No.
But what I like is that I read this on Reddit, but it was like, can we all just be happy that we're all collectively angry and that our biggest gripe is
Is it
shaders?
yeah. Which, I mean, they have a good point. They really do. Although, then there's the flip side of that, where for people like you specifically, cosmetics are a huge part of the game for you. And this is the thing.
Cosmetics are
I bring up-
150% of the reason why I play.
I bring it up all the time when I have this conversation about microtransactions because I hate them. And as somebody who might one day be a game developer, I hate microtransactions. But I'll have people be like, they're just cosmetics. You don't need them. I was like, no. Because to somebody like me or somebody like Rob, cosmetics are a part of the game. You're locking behind an important part of the game to some people. My philosophy on cosmetics is you should always be able to earn them in game, which you can with the shaders, but the difference is when you had a shader in Destiny 1, you had the shader.
Yeah, you owned it. You know, like same thing with emblems, and same thing with like guns and stuff like that. Like you own it, like that's yours. But they changed that, and they improved the collection system with emotes and emblems, but they just took away shaders, and it confuses me. I don't know why, and I guess it's because the shaders can go on everything, but I have to have like 6 of the same shader to get everything of mine, working.
And then if you change your gear set, fuck you.
Yeah.
You need 6 more.
The amount of time farming for these things is just unnecessary, and I feel like it's just them artificially lengthening the game, and because people don't want to like grind for 2 hours for like the Titan shaders, for example, the Titan planet shaders, like they'll just go and buy them, and I feel like that's
that's
it
the
feels concern. Yeah, it just. And really, that's like, I'm not a big fan of microtransactions in general, but that in specific is just like, come on, guys, really? Like, we're gonna heap a bunch of praise on you, but at this time, like, this is not something that you guys need to do. You guys need to walk it back a little bit.
They improved every other aspect of the shaders. Like, now there are shaders that have 4 tones instead of 2 tones or 3 tones, and you can put them on everything from your ghost to your gear to your ship to your sparrow to well, there's weapon skins that's different, but still, you can put it on everything, but you can't put it on everything now. If you get a rose gold shader, you need to get 9 more rose gold shaders, and it's just such a step backward, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense in a microtransaction business model. It doesn't make sense in a $60 game that we will eventually probably spend $200 on.
Yeah, like, it feels rude. I don't know. I don't have the right word. It's deceitful. I guess that's the best word that I have for it. It feels deceitful from a game design standpoint. That's the only thing that I don't like about it. It feels like they're just trying to take money away from us, And I mean, you're not going to blame anybody specifically because we don't know who was pushing microtransaction. It could have been Activision. It could be Luke Smith. It could be executives in Bungie.
It could be
and they just kind of had to bend the knee to try and get what they wanted in. They were like, well, give microtransactions for shaders and make them consumables, and like we'll allow you to put this. And
yeah,
I understand it, and we'll never really know. We'll never actually know why this is in there, but I do think they need to like look at this and really adjust what they're going to do, because this is something that's kind of takes the wind out of your sails, because by the end of the game, like, you're going to be trying to min-max your armor set and really get good looking, and there's nothing more frustrating for me personally than having my Guardian just look like a like the trash bag walking around, just like
Which
garbage
they both
person
do
with
right
garbage
now.
armor.
But that's only
So-
because we haven't gotten anything. But I like to picture Oryx sitting in like the break room or the board meeting room as they're discussing ideas, and he's just like, you gimped me on how cool I could have been. You make Gary cooler, so I'm gonna ruin shaders, and there's nothing you can do about it because I'm the Taken King. That's probably what happened.
I'm gonna take your features.
I have taken entire worlds, and now I've taken the shaders.
One thing they did roll out, which we were really excited for once we started playing on Friday, was they rolled out clans. Rolled out like a soft kind of rollout for clans.
Rolled out clans.
It's not working the best right now, but hopefully they're going to start to continue. And I think by the 26th, they wanted to have a full base for people in by clans. So it's working. If you're in a clan, you can start kind of like playing around, looking at it, trying to invite people. You should be able to get your banner and put that up. There's rewards that you guys can work towards. So this actually looks really cool. And the clan features are something that I'm really, really excited for.
And as
really
always, on the clans, our clan is open join, so you can go ahead and find us Ascended Super Saiyans and join us, and we'll definitely play with you. Guided games is going to be a big thing we're interested in, even though it's not out yet, so we can't talk on it yet. But yeah, clan rewards seem like they're totally worth it. If you've been iffy about getting into a clan, do it for no other reason than to get the bonuses, like more glimmer and things like that, just for being in the clan. It's definitely going to improve your gameplay experience overall.
Yeah, and you get more rewards for playing more people. So if you got a fire team of 3 people and you're all doing the same thing, like you get 750 clan experience for doing a patrol.
Yeah.
Like it's pushing you to play with more people, and that's what Destiny. Like Destiny is better when you play with more people. Destiny is better when you play with your friends. And if you don't have people, like if you're a solo player going out there, look at some clans. Like really look and see like what they have. And I mean, once they launch guided games, like you can try and like do some nightfalls with some people, and if you end up liking those people, go and join their clan, like, because then you'll get the rewards, you'll be able to work with them, and I promise you the game is so much better with people to talk with, the people to play it with.
And this isn't universal, but almost any time that somebody did not like Destiny 1 or said I tried it but I didn't really like it, I always asked them, did you play it by yourself? And most of the time they say yes. And you can't. Destiny is not a game that's meant to be played by yourself. It's not as fun. It's not as enjoyable. It's just not. Just play it with people.
It's a very social experience. It's something that you're not going to lose anything playing alone, but you are going to gain stuff by playing with people, by playing with clans, or by playing and like grouping up with people that you see in like the patrol areas. And
we can talk about that personally, because before you started playing with us, you played alone. And you fell out of the game rather quick, and you didn't pick it up again for months. The only reason you said you picked it up again was because you already had the expansions.
Yeah, I mean, personally, if I hadn't bought the collector's edition for Destiny 1, I wouldn't be here right now. Because I already paid in the expansions. I was like, okay, next expansion's dropping. Let's go see what we got to do. And then, one thing led to another, and I'm here. But I mean, I personally can attest to the fact that Destiny is so much better. You get so much more out of the experience by playing with the clans. So I mean, it's not like telling you like, please join our clan, but like go out there. Like if you're alone, like go try and make some friends. You might meet some bad apples, but I promise you, 95% of the people that I've met playing this game are delightful.
Yeah, it's definitely it's so different from every other online community I've ever played with as far as toxicity goes. The most toxic people I ever saw were the people in LFG that you just didn't talk to because they'd be like, you must have these 5 million things to join our raid group. But people we've actually played with, they've never been like that. I think maybe once or twice I ever had an experience was like, I just cannot play with this guy anymore.
Yeah, so I mean the clans are super cool. You get engrams from playing with them. They'll have like different staves that you can put the clan emblem on for each like season. There's clan levels, and you just playing with people who are in your clan, you get experience towards that. So you can like become this like prestigious clan. People can rate you. So like if once guided games gets up, like you can get rated on like how good you are to play with, how skilled you are, like how how nice you are, I guess, or whatever, like the Oathkeeper score or what have you. So it's super interesting. I would definitely recommend looking into some clans if you have it, and go out there and make some friends and play with some people, because game is better with people.
Yep. That's I think that's a definitive statement. I don't think that's an opinion.
Last thing we really want to touch on, since we have not finished the campaign, we really don't know, because we've been trying to keep ourselves away from spoilers for the most part, but we want to look and see, kind of make predictions on how
this will
we
be
think
interesting
the
to come back to next week and be like, "Oh, I was wrong," or "I was right," or "No, they fucked it up."
yeah, how the campaign or will end. And I mean, this can transfer into the raid content too, because we don't really know what'll happen, because both in Rise of Iron and The Taken King, the raid was almost an extension of the story,
but
to
not
a point.
enough.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a full extension. Like The Taken King. I feel like the Taken King expansion was the best example of that we've seen from this area, but it wasn't done, and it wasn't really like fleshed out.
Right.
So I don't really know, because I mean, there's been talk, because we've gotten up to the point where they're really frightened of this like sun exploder machine. This yeah, the All Might. We've got So they're super worried about this, and I don't know what that has to do with the Leviathan and how that's going to take it into effect. But
the
I mean,
Leviathan
I think
was
you said
definitely in our vision.
Yeah, so I think like that might be the machine, or like that's going to have something to do with it. Because I personally am still holding to the thing that I think Gaul is going to be the raid boss. I think we're going to fight him at the end in some sense, but I don't think we're gonna like defeat him,
right,
quote unquote. Like it might be to a point where like we're able to like evacuate him from the city, so we can like maybe have like the city back, or like be able to like go around the surrounding areas without having an issue. But I do think that Gaul is going to be like heavily involved in the raid, and if he isn't, and we like are able to defeat him, I definitely would like to see how that goes.
Yeah,
I'm really interested to see how that would go. I mean, I personally don't think that, obviously he's not going to get chosen, so I think he's going to like try and take the light for himself
out of frustration, right?
Yeah.
My expectations for the story, I expect, because right now we're gonna split up and they're gonna go attack the city, and we're gonna go try and destroy the Almighty. I think they're definitely gonna fail because they don't have light, and we might be in the middle of destroying the Almighty, and then we might make the great hero's mistake where we leave to go save them. And I expect to see some kind of devastation if we make a mistake like that. We go to the city to save our friends or whatever, because our ghost the whole game has just been concerned about the city.
Yeah, it's really been hammering that point home, specifically.
I expect to see Gaul wield the light. I do. I don't know how, but I'm really curious to see what a Cabal wielding the light looks like, and I really hope I get to see it.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he's going to be chosen, though? Do you think he's going to be, like, blessed with the Travelers?
I want him to be chosen,
light?
Because it would completely rock the entire foundation of this religion that the Guardians believe in, and I'm a sucker. I've played every Final Fantasy game, so anytime the foundations of like an established religion are questioned or whatever in a game, it always makes for some pretty powerful storytelling, because you get people like Waka from Final Fantasy X who just can't come to terms with the fact that their world might be a lie, and it would open up some fantastic exploration for the Osiris DLC specifically, because Osiris was outed because he was saying the speaker wasn't really chosen by the Traveler and stuff. And if it turns out the Traveler is just a machine, then the Osiris DLC, we might be going after him because it turns out he was right, and maybe he knows more, and we need to know more from him. It could be a good jumping off point.
Yeah, I mean, that, like, from a story standpoint, that would be super interesting. I kind of like that. I think that'd be really weird. Yeah. I'm like giving it some thought. Like, I think that'd be really, really interesting.
Because I mean, the Traveler's chosen a race before with the Fallen. and then it left them. So there's no what makes us better really as humans. Like why should it stay with us if somebody proves that they're also worthy?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why I like Gaul so much is that like there's him and the speaker at one point. I think it might be like the second little cinematic you get with Gaul. They're talking about sacrifice, and they're like the Guardians in and of themselves. We were talking about the religion. The Guardians of themselves have like this huge sense of superiority that they're better than everybody, and then like they're they're like the protectors of the city, and like all of you guys are beneath us, and they're literally on this tower above everybody else.
It's even called out in the
above all
story
the rest of the people.
where Hawthorne says she's going to go do something, and then Ghost is like, "But you're not," or maybe it's Zavala or somebody says, "You're not." She's like, "What? I'm not a guardian."
Yeah, and it's like everybody else is here, and you see them do these things, and they're just because you have the light doesn't mean that you're better than us or less equipped. And I think Gaul is like trying to make that point to the speaker during that scene where he's like, don't talk to me about sacrifice, don't talk to me about duty and honor and determination. So I could see, and it really depends on how you think or how you look at the Traveler, but I could see the Traveler it all depends on their lore and their understanding of the Traveler, Bungie's, but the Traveler being like, all right, let's give this a try.
Yeah. You've proven yourself. You stood here long enough. But yeah, before we end it, I just want to let any listeners out there know I'm in Florida, great old Florida, and there is a gigantic thing coming my way here the next couple hours. So
Hurricane Irma's.
The next episode might be delayed. Ideally, it won't be, but you never know with the power companies how long we could be out of power. I was way down south, but I've moved up further with my mom and stuff just to ride it out. So depending on how that goes, our next episode might be delayed. I mean, we could technically record one in advance, but it obviously wouldn't be genuine because we haven't even finished the game. So I think we're just going to see how it goes and hopefully get it out on time.
Yeah, regardless, we appreciate you guys tuning in, you guys listening, you guys watching on YouTube, or you guys listening via podcast. Obviously, regardless of where you're at, we're on YouTube at Towers Underground. We are on the towersunderground.com. We are searchable under the Towers Underground logo or the Towers Underground search term on Google Play, on Apple Podcast, on Stitcher. We are also searchable as Destiny Underground on those same platforms. So whatever your preferred platform is, please like, subscribe, comment, let us know what we can do better.
Comment.
Let us know what you like.
I want to have some discussions about this story because I'm into it. I like speculating, and I haven't finished it yet. So if you want to comment without spoilers about where you, or even if you would just want to speculate on how they should have done things, please, let's get into that.
Yeah, open forums to discussion. But yeah, I think we're gonna drop it here. We'll give you an update next week on where you're at, and most importantly, have fun out there playing.
Yeah, you guys do that. I'll see you next week.